You ready?
Yes, sir.
The Tuareg Takoba.
My name's Justin Mavity. I'm 36 years old. I'm from Glasgow, Montana. Growing up, I've always loved knives, swords, and I watched Forge and Fire. You see it and you're like, I think I could maybe do that.
The Takoba is a type of broadsword that has been used by the nomadic Tuareg people of North Africa since the 14th century. This double-edged lightweight blade was carried for self-defense on long journeys, designed to deliver lethal slashes and stabs against a rival warrior. Due to the Tuareg's aversion to iron, there is no exposed steel or iron on the hilt of this sword, so it cannot touch the user's hand. Measuring more than a meter long, this deadly weapon was seen as a symbol of wealth. Some members of the Takoba clan still carry this weapon today.
Attila the Hun's Sword of Mars.
My name is Dan Strang. I'm 18 years old. I started bladesmithing when I was 13, and I really started getting serious a couple of years ago. I'm definitely the youngest one here, but I love being underestimated. It's one of my favorite things.
Known as the Scourge of God, Attila the Hun was one of the most feared conquerors in history. The leader of the Hunnic Empire, his group of nomadic tribes wreaked havoc across Europe during the 5th century.
Though he was once a great ally to them, he plagued Roman territories, sacking major cities like Constantinople.
Legend states that Attila was given the Sword of Mars by a herdsman,
Fulfilling a prophecy and a direct sign from the Roman war god Mars of his divine rule.
The lethal weapon featured a curved handle with a spear point tip that gave it exceptional control, allowing for accurate and brutal thrusts. After Attila's death in the year 453, the Hunnic Empire quickly dissolved. However, the story of Attila's many conquests still live on through the television miniseries, Attila.
I have to make a Tuareg Takoba. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Hopefully, I would like to get the whole thing forged out today and possibly ready for heat treat in the morning. Looking good. It's coming along. I got the blade where I want it. I'm half an inch over. I'm happy with that. It'll be good. Yesterday, I got my blade heat treated. Here we go. Move on to the pommel now. I'm going to try to key out the bottom of this so that fits straight, and then I'll just have like a pommel nut that goes on top and holds everything together. Whether or not it works, we'll see. So I got my handle all together. I have the handle all epoxied. Everything's good, the nut's tight. Guards on these Takobas, they have stars and all other types of geometric shapes. And I had hat pins that I'd put in some of my knives. Definitely not a cowboy, but my brother passed away 10 years ago, and he was, so I think I'll throw this in there for him. Start to Dremel them out to kind of recess them into the handle. Not bad. Fairly happy with it. I am worried about the tang. I do wish I would have made the tang a little bit thicker, but I mean, it's out of my hands now.
So I'm gonna be chopping up this old muscle car to get the leaf springs out, and that's gonna be the steel for my sword. I love working with that sort of stuff. There's my steel. So my game plan for today is basically get the blade rough forged out and maybe even ground a little bit if I had enough time. I don't have a power hammer or press. This is my power hammer. This one's for the money. There's a lot of concerns when you make a blade this long, because if you don't have it even and flat, that gives it more of a chance to warp in the quench. I pull it out of the oil. The blade's got a slight warp in it, but it's hard. Now I'm gonna start work on my handle, which is going to be made out of this little dolphin that I got from a thrift store. I like to find a use for everything. And I want to get the tang burned in all the way. You see how it's not smoking? That means the wood's not touching any part that's hot. I couldn't get the tang hot enough to burn in, so the only thing keeping me from going all the way up is the width here. So I gotta stick it in the drill press and then drill out a little bit. I fit the handle and epoxy it in. Once it's on there, it's permanent. I can't go back. This is insanely nerve-wracking. If my fit up is loose whatsoever, I could go home.
Welcome to the keel test. Your Tuareg Takobas look beautiful, but the kind of beauty I'm looking for is the lethal kind. I'm gonna take your weapon, deliver some lethal blows to this ballistic dummy. Dustin, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, Dustin, let's talk about your weapon here. First up, your handle construction. I like the ovoid feel of this. The flare you have there in your pommel actually gives great retention for this. Your tip is sharp enough to penetrate. Your edges are sharp when you're cutting out, and you can wield this to do that kind of damage on this ballistic dummy. Overall, sir, a weapon like this, it will kill.
Awesome.
All right, Dan, it is your turn. You ready?
Hell yeah.
Let's do this.
I was hoping the kill test would be a dummy. I know heads will roll.
All right, Dan, let's talk about your weapon here. I love the balance of your blade. When I go forward, it's not hard to pull back to go in again for another kill. Now, your handle construction. It's curved enough to where it doesn't want to fly out of my hand. It's got a good grip and control for this. Your edge allows for very deep cuts into the abdomen right there. The only issue we have is that your tip picked up a bend when it's chopped into the spine. But your weapon, sir, will kill.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. Our desert well chop. Now, to test the strength and overall construction of your blades, I will be chopping into our well house, as well as the well. And Dustin, you're on deck. You ready?
I guess so.
Okay. All right, we were doing so well for a moment there. What actually happened was, with insetting your blade down into this piece of wood, any of that leverage was just too much for the wood itself, and it popped it loose. Your tang is a little bit small, but what I do like to see is that your blade actually held up beautifully. I mean, your grain structure looks fine. This is an absolutely brutal test. Very well done.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. Now, Attila's armies were basically one large cavalry. And through his military campaigns, he revolutionized the use of horse in military conflicts. So to test the strength and durability of your blades, I'll be chopping into these horse skulls. All right, Dan, are you ready?
No, but let's do it.
Everybody says that. Okay, so before we get to the obvious, I really like the design of your blade. It's got a great weight to it, had a really good feel in my hand. The balance was really nice. See all that space around your tang? With that room for that blade to move inside the guard, it could just create so much stress that it cut loose right there at the corner. If it were all tight, there wouldn't be any stress. There's no discoloration here, so it's not that there was a crack here before. Your grain structure looks fine. It was a well-designed piece, but obvious flaw.
Forged in Fire, War of Weapons.